I love this background. This is literally the exact background that I wanted. Oh, this is perfect. Hi, welcome to the video. Welcome back. My name's Sheree, and I feel like I'm filming this a little late. That's okay, because nothing is ever late when it's the right time. So this is gonna be my best books, or my favorite books, I guess, of 2024. Yes, we are, what, 6 days into 2025? So actually I don't think it's that late. I have my stack of books right here for 2024 that I loved. And I'm gonna preface this by saying there's no order. I actually thought 2024 was actually a very mid reading year for me, which makes me sad. But I'm trying to see how many books I actually read. I think I only read, also I'm not using Goodreads this year. I'm using Storygraph. So catch me on Storygraph. I guess I'll leave the link in my bio. I don't know. So it says I read 56 books. 56 books. I literally hate read some of these books. And I pray that next year is a better reading year. We'll just start with, there's no order. So I'm gonna start with, I don't even know. Okay, first actually I'll start with Nickel Boys. I just looked at my list and I realized that the last book I read in 2024 was Nickel Boys, and I actually really liked that book. I don't read a lot of fiction. My reading taste, they're literally all over the place, and I realized I finished Nickel Boys at the end of the year and I actually really liked it. I read it and then I saw the movie and then I finished the book. I had wished that I had finished the book before I had seen the movie, but that's okay. So I would say Nickel Boys. I don't remember the star rating. We're not gonna do star ratings. We're just gonna talk about the books. Like, the book and the movie go together very well. Although this video is not about movies, I think that those two go together very, very well, and they complement each other very, very, very well. What I liked about Nickel Boys is that it's about something that I didn't really know about, and I think, you know, we know a little bit about what it's based on, but we don't have any really personal accounts. And I think that what Colson Whitehead does with his writing, and I feel like he does that with other books that he has too, where he tries to humanize and bring us closer into the personal stories of people that were involved or affected by these certain things in history, like the school and then, you know, Underground Railroad. Yeah, I didn't think I would put Nickel Boys on the list, but she's on here. Okay, so then the next ones are just gonna be random ones. Honestly, there's no order, but I also loved A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. I felt like this book, all tabbed up, I felt like this book was really whimsical and really magical. Keep in mind, I read a lot of these a while ago, so may not remember everything that they're about. But I really love Tia Williams. Her other book, 7 Days in June, was probably on my best of the other year, and I love her writing and I love her stories, and I felt like this one was so magical and whimsical. And it's about, you know, it says one florist, one pianist, one love story, 100 years in the making. And, you know, there's I guess you could say a twist, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but I think that the love story between them is just really magical. This book, I would describe this book as magical and whimsical, and I really loved it. I also read, this is really random, but I was reading the Shadowhunters series with a friend, and this book, ironically, which is after the first set of the Mortal Instruments, Tales from the Shadowhunters Academy. I liked this, the City of, the Mortal Instruments series, but there was something about this book that shook me to my core. There's a relationship in here, to see what they went through and to see the things that it's about Simon, that Simon is struggling with. I love it. Is it Isabella or Isabel? I don't even remember. That's so sad. It feels so long ago since I read this, but some of the quotes that are in this, oh, Isabel. Yeah, some of the quotes in this are where he talks about he doesn't want to lose himself. He said, losing himself to Izzy, could it be that this was the only way to really find himself? Could it be that this here was home? And just the relationship between him and Izzy, just really love the relationship between them, and that's what made this, like, this is my favorite book in the series. I'm still reading like the other 3, but the other books in the series, I haven't read them in a while, but this is a bunch of short stories. I think at the first part I didn't really understand its greatness, but then as I got kind of like halfway through, I was like, oh, this is the one. This is the one. And I also read She Who Became the Sun, another favorite of mine. I didn't think that I would love this book as much as I did, because fantasy is really tough for me, and I'm realizing how I have 3 fantasy books on here. Good for me. I want to be a fantasy girly. I've been wanting to be a fantasy girly for years and failed, but I read She Who Became the Sun for part of my Pride vlog, and I absolutely loved it. I was just eating it up. It's really like a political war novel. And there is a bit of romance, and there's friendship, there's betrayals, and it's like, there was so much happening. Yeah, I love the friendship between our main character and like this other guy that's like in the monastery with her, because like their friendship, he's like, I don't care. Like, I mean, it's in the premise that she has to basically take the mantle of her brother after he passes away. Really like a war story, and I need to read the second one, but I was literally just eating it up. Like, I didn't think I would, but I remember where I kept thinking about it like after, and really loved it a lot. I'm not like huge also on like historical, because there's also not a lot of like magical things or like things that would make this kind of like set in a world that's like fantastical. There is a little bit, but I feel like maybe they'll explore that in book 2 more. It's really just more of a historical fantasy. That's pretty much it. And I actually kind of loved it. Another one of my favorites, This Woven Kingdom. Honestly, I love the whole series, because right now there's only 3 books out, and I think the 4th one, I think it's going to be a 5-book series, and it's going to, the new one's going to come out hopefully this year. That would be amazing. And again, tabbed all up. The crazy thing about this, it's kind of like, I don't know what we would consider this. Maybe like I don't know if I'd consider it enemies to lovers. I don't think they're friends. 2 different worlds to lovers maybe. And also not lovers. I don't know. I feel like, you know, we follow Alize. Yeah, I think that's her name. I remember having a hard time pronouncing it. And she's like a servant, and then we also follow like the crown prince Cameron, who has his own demons that he needs to deal with, and they're kind of like having to like navigate each other. And the thing about this is there's literally nothing that happens. Like, in all 3 books, like this book, things happen, but in books 2 and 3, literally I think like 1 event happens. Like the entire book is like 1 event. And the thing about that is that it's not, I wouldn't call it fast paced, but the thing I loved about it is that nothing happened, but I still ate these books up, because her writing, so beautiful. Like, I have not read the Shatter Me series. This is the only thing that I've read, the first Shatter Me series, but this is like the only series that I'm like caught up on with her, with Tahira Mafi. And her writing in this was so beautiful that I literally was like, I don't care that nothing's happening. I don't care. I just want to be in this world. I just want to read what she has to say. And that made me extremely happy. So I can't wait for the next book to come out. There is a little bit of romance. There is a little bit of forbidden love. There's an enemy. There's some secrets. There's a little bit of magic. I feel like this series kind of checks all the boxes. If you want something that's like fast paced, where there's a lot of things happening, then maybe it's not for you. But if you can kind of just accept that not a lot of things are going to happen, but the writing in this is phenomenal, then this series is for you. Okay, I'm gonna throw in a nonfiction book really quick, and then we'll go into like my top 3. I really didn't have that many favorites this year. I have 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess 8. Yeah, top 8, a top 8, like MySpace. Nonfiction book that I read this year that I would read basically every morning when I was drinking my pre-workout. I would read a couple essays. In this book, it's called 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. And I absolutely love this book. I dog-eared parts, highlighted. There are some really powerful essays in this book about just about life, about navigating it, about love, about letting go, about, you know, thinking you're enough, thinking how to navigate life, how to solve problems, just so many things. Like some of the essays include like what you find in solitude, things you need to know about yourself before you have the life you want, things emotionally healthy people know how to do, how to become your own worst enemy, the idiot's guide to emotional intelligence, every relationship you have is with yourself. And that one very much struck me. Let yourself be happier than you think you deserve. So just things about how people don't actually let themselves be happy because everyone has an upper limit, self-sabotage. There's so many good things in this book. And I sent my best friend a copy because she had messaged me and was like, do you like this book? Like, I've been wanting to read it. And I was like, I absolutely love this book. And I sent her one because I think there's something about like this, I don't know, in this year, this past couple months, the journey has been about self-worth and growth and being enough in the midst of a crumbling relationship or life or whatever it may be, or thinking that I'm in this thing and really having to look inside and do a lot more self-work on myself and my worth and whatnot. And so I feel like this book, reading things like this, gives me hope, and it helps me kind of get my mind set in the morning. I feel like my mind is always racing, and the thoughts, and so I feel like reading stuff like this really brings me like into myself. A lot of emotions came up when I read this book, but I think that that's good. I think it'll get me to healing and to a fully healed person in the time that it needs to take. So I think this book is really good if you're looking for something to just like read and reflect and have you think about your life and yourself and the relationships you're in and the relationships you have with friends, family, the relationship you have with yourself. I think this is like a really good book. Clearly I can't stop talking about it. My top three books of the year. I don't know if they're in any particular order, but I know I definitely gave all three of them 5 stars. So the first one is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think she has another book coming out this year called Atmosphere, and I can't wait. But this is a tennis story, and it's about Carrie Soto. We meet Carrie Soto, I want to say, in Malibu Rising. I think it's Malibu Rising. I think. But we follow Carrie Soto, and she is basically follow like her rise to fame and then her comeback. And her comeback is greater than the setback, I'm telling you. I love Carrie. Like, she is relentless in wanting to be the best. And that comes at a cost sometimes. And she has to grapple with that, and like, you know, how her relationships with her father and other men in her life have faltered. And like, it's just like a story about like this girl who's, I think, is deeply unapologetic, which I love. And she's just like eye on the fucking prize. And there's so many great things about this book. It takes place from like the 50s all the way to, pretty sure, like pretty recent. Let me see. It has a date. Yeah, 1996. So that's not that recent. But if you like a tennis story like I do, I know a lot of people like Challengers this year. So if you like a tennis story and you want to read it, you want to read a book that is involving tennis, I feel like this is a good one. I love the writing in this. I love the story. I love the little romances. 5 stars all around. 5 stars. That's all I'm saying. And then Yellowface. I don't feel like we could have a favorite without talking about Yellowface. This is definitely a unique book. This is my first book by R.F. Kuang. And I was like, it made me realize like how amazing of a writer she is and how much range she has, because I think I talked about this in another vlog, but I feel like she has such amazing command of language and words. And reading this, I just felt like, damn, she knows what the fuck she's doing. Like, the way that she strings words together and sentences, like, obviously I'm talking right now, but there's something about her writing where it's just like, you are an expert at your craft, I think, personally. And it made me really, really want to read everything else by her, but I'm almost scared. Because I feel like it's going to be so good. The other things by her, is like the Poppy War, that series, which I do want to read that series this year, and then Babel. And she's coming out with a new book, Catabasis. this year, and I cannot wait. This year it's definitely, I'm reading everything by her. Like that's just what it's gonna be, because, and I heard Babel's a little bit tough, but I just want to revel in like the things that she writes, the ways she writes. And I guess I should talk about what the book is about. So basically Juniper Song is this girl, and she is like kind of friends with this other like writer, and that writer dies. And so she finds like a manuscript of this girl, and she, you know, the main girl, Juniper Song, she's not having the greatest luck as a writer, but she ends up finding this manuscript, and she ends up essentially using that story to create her own story. And so I feel like the book talks a lot about like who's in the wrong, who's in the right, because I think we're supposed to kind of be on the side of Juniper Song, but Juniper Song is also not the greatest character person. And it's very interesting about appropriation and doing things that you may think are even wrong to get where you want to get. And it's about character, and it's just about so many good things that I actually love. I love this book so much. Like, it's about so many things. And I realized I highlighted and annotated so much. I miss highlighting and annotating books, because I have like even notes in here. Dang, I love this. Wow, this is awesome. Sorry, this is the first time I've opened this book for months, but Yellowface, 5 stars, hands down. And last but not least, this definitely was my favorite book this year. I'm kind of obsessed with their writing. I think they have the most range of an author that I've seen, besides R.F. Kuang, obviously, but the most range, because every single thing that they've written has been something different. They've written children's books, they've written adult fiction, they've written a memoir, poetry, a romance, and the book and author I'm talking about, is Akwaeke Emezi, and the book that I read this year by them is called Little Rot. This is what they were saying as a thriller. This is a thriller. And when I tell you, like, this book had me on the edge of my freaking seat. The way that things are unfolding in this book, it's like a spider web. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy, the things that happen in this book. You're in the underbelly of Nigeria, and it's just like the characters in this and the way that they all connect. It's just, wow. This book, I loved it so much. 5 stars. I also read this book during my Pride vlog because it came out in June of this year, and I was impatiently waiting for this book to come out. And I ended up downloading it, but then I like wanted to get a physical copy. I don't know how Akwaeke does it. Like, they are such an amazing author, and I like the way that they can just write such different things is just amazing to me. And the characters that you follow in here, it's, oh my god, we are untangling a web that is insane. And I think that everybody should read this. Everybody should read Akwaeke Emezi. Honestly, I still have a couple of their books to read. I still need to read like some of their YA and their memoir, Freshwater, and some of their poetry. So I've read, like, you know, the death of Vivek OG. I've read You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, and that was like, that's one of my favorite romances like of all time. And it's age gap, which is funny because we all know I hate age gap. So I just love like the variety that they have. I just love the variety that they have in their writing and the kind of books that they put out. So I really appreciate that, honestly. That was the 8 books that I really liked this year, really loved, really liked. I don't know, honestly, like I said, I feel like this year was so mid for me in reading. I wish that I had read more, but I know that I read the exact amount that I was supposed to read, and hopefully 2025 is a better reading year because I need it, y'all. I have fallen out of love with reading, and that has made me so sad. So my goal this year is to fall back in love with reading. So if anyone has any suggestions on like books that they love that help them fall in love with reading, please let me know, comment down below. And if you made it this far, thank you. Again, I always say it, thank you so much for watching and sticking around. We're going into, I don't even know, this is maybe year 2 or maybe year 3 of like YouTube, and I really want to start contributing more time to this. So thank you so much for being here. Happy 2025. I hope that everyone has the best year and that they find love, they find happiness, they find peace. That's what I want for myself and for everybody. Until next time. Bye.